conditions that isolated us completely from civilization. We got so degenerate, so isolated, living in this mud.
And you could sympathise with how a rabbit must feel, because we were hunted by mankind, just the same as a rabbit.
You knew your lives were in one another's hands, and it united you very closely, and you didn't let anything interfere with that.
You knew what was going on within your vision. Beyond that, you hadn't got a clue.
You didn't care how the war was going, whether you were winning. You weren't bothered with that at all. You lived like tramps. You didn't polish any buttons. You wore any uniform bits that you liked, and nobody worried. All they were concerned with was that you were fit to fight.
If nothing's happened, you chat about life, where he came from, where you came from. Everything was friendly. There was a terrific lot of kindness in a way to each person.
When the war was not very active, it was really rather fun to be in the front line. It was not very dangerous, a sort of out-of-door camping holiday with the boys, with a slight spice of danger to make it interesting.
No, because they didn't have any sound recording. But what we did is we got lipper readers. We got forensic lip readers, who there are professional people, you know, especially for like police work, for security camera footage, which is silent and there's people talking, and there's forensic lip readers that the police get to sort of try to figure out what they're saying and stuff. So there's actually quite clever people who can look at lips moving and actually figure out. So we had a couple of those people looking at the silent footage and telling us, oh, well, this guy's saying that and this guy's saying that. And then we got actors to do those lines. Well, the big job is restoring the black and white to black and white. It's you know to get from bad black and white to good black and white is actually where most of the work is, and you've got to do it's a multifaceted thing. It's sharpening, it's getting rid of scratches, getting rid of grain, changing the speed, getting rid of splices. Sometimes you lose 3 or 4 frames in a splice. You've got to then have the computer create those 3 or 4 frames. What's actually pretty amazing now is that a computer, because it was also changing the speed. So imagine, you know, we're say that, you know, everything's being screened at 24 frames, but some of the stuff was shot at 14, 15, 16 frames, 10 frames, and so you're now asking the computer to create the extra frames in between the ones that are there, which is it amazed me how well it can actually do it now. You know, you can actually have if you tell the computer this is 15 frames a second, but we want it to be 24, the computer, without you just press a button, you don't actually, it's no human involvement. The computer will actually generate, it'll take the frame before, the frame after, and it'll generate these frames that don't exist with the original material and create its own frames. And it's incredible the results that you get. And then the colorization is, there's nothing difficult about the colorization, but it's just very labor intensive. It's just, you know, the more you spend on it, the more time you spend on it, the better you get. That's really just a simple thing with the color work. Because the war was a color war. You know, that was the purpose of what we were doing, was to try to make a film where you're listening to the people that were there and you're seeing it as they saw it. And they saw it in color, not in black and white, obviously. Well, we use voices and pictures, obviously, but I didn't want to. You know, there's been lots of documentaries made in the First World War, all sorts of shapes and sizes and descriptions, you know, and I just decided for this one to strictly just use the voices of the guys that fought there. So no historians, no narration, no nothing, because I wasn't telling the story of the First World War. I mean, it's not the story of the war; it's the story of the human experience of fighting in the war. But you see, what also happened in the First World War is they didn't allow any soldier, any coloured person was not allowed to fight, if you can believe that. Is that they didn't want to be in a blunt way. They didn't want brown people shooting white men. They didn't think at that particular point in time that was a very good look. So all of the soldiers, all the South African, West Indian soldiers, the Maoris from New Zealand, they were all relegated to digging trenches or cutting down trees, doing lumber work. just lugging stuff around. They weren't given guns. They weren't. I mean, the Indian soldiers were some of the Indians fought, the Sikhs and the Gurkhas fought. Yeah. Well, it was sort of it's. I mean, it did happen, not just in the British Army, but it was one of the shames of that war is that they let kids fight. I mean, I know it in Gallipoli, because I go to Gallipoli a lot. The youngest grave at Gallipoli is a 14-year-old, and he's an Australian kid. They just turned a blind eye. In Britain, the age limit was 19, and New Zealand it was 21. I think Australia was 20, but they let 14 and 15-year-old kids fight. They just turned a blind eye, which is not a very good thing.